Hi everybody, welcome to this segment, and it's about Parkinson's and pets. A lot of times people will ask, can I have a pet? I have Parkinson's, what do I do? Is it too late for me to have an animal in my life? The answer is no. Depending on the type of pet you want, it can be a reptile, it can be a hedgehog, it can be a dog, a cat, a fish. You just have to be able to physically be able to care for that animal. In other words, if your fish tank is a 10-gallon tank, a 15 to 20-gallon tank, that's a lot easier than taking care of something that's 110 gallons. It also depends on the cost factor. Can you afford to care for that animal as that animal ages? And it also depends on how much you need from it. In this segment, we're going to show you different types of animals. There are dogs, and you're going to show how Don works with them, or I will work with them, but in this case you're going to see Don working with Zeke, who tends to be the one that's bonded with him. You're going to see what you want from that animal. Does he want the love of Zeke, where Zeke also likes to cuddle? Does he just like Betsy, where all Betsy has is cuddle? Do you need a Tilly, which is our rescue dog that has hip dysplasia, but she goes for walks with him when he's in the scooter? What is your need? Cats are typically easier to care for than dogs because you're not having to let them outside. You're not having to do a whole lot of things that you do with the dogs. So that's going to make a big difference. But pretty much, as long as it's something that you're needing and wanting and getting some kind of physical love from. Your hedgehog, if you're cuddling it, you're going to get the same amount of love that you would from a dog or a cat. It depends on what you're into. The fish will provide tranquility for you. A lot of times we have a couple tanks in the house. A lot of times I will sit down and watch the tanks. It helps. When it comes to animals in general, here we go. Magnificent Mutts and Meows, the rescue. They are from Illinois. Okay, so every place has a rescue center in it. Kingman's no different. Every place has something. But we have dear friends that will do a lot of dog transports, will help with them, and they have dogs, cats, things that are rescues. Now, if you're looking for an animal, say a dog or a cat, and you're wanting to, and you are not having the stamina for a puppy, the rescue sites would be perfect because they have dogs that are a lot of times older, sometimes senior animals, calmer animals, animals that can work with you and not take all the life-sucking energy out of you that puppies can take, okay? So don't be afraid to look at that. That being said, I am not against breeders. There are some really legitimate breeders, and depending on what you're looking for, such as we're going to want to have a service dog for Don. So we're in the next year or so, we plan on adding to the household, and that would be a dog that needs to be of a larger size breed. Okay, so I am looking for an animal that would be a Labrador, a Golden, something in that vicinity, something in that area of an animal. I cannot take the chance of it being a dog that the kennel's going to tell me as a puppy is going to be a 75 and 85 pound dog, and then it isn't. Because we're needing it to do specific things, especially when it comes to, with Parkinson's, many people have balance animals, so they need larger animals. So there's a difference with that, and it's a difference in how you're going to train that animal or have that animal trained. And yes, it is possible to train this animal. There are certain things you'll have to do for it to be an actual legal service dog, but it is possible. So it's not a matter of you having to wait to the 3, 4, 5 years on a waiting list for a service dog. You can start with a pup and work your way through a lot of the training things and be able to have that dog qualify as a service animal. It all depends on if you're wanting to travel with the animal too, for how many tests they will have to pass in order to be certified. So are there animals that come from kennels that are service dogs? Yes, of course they could be. It all depends on what your needs are for that animal, what your expectations are for that animal. Okay, so enjoy the rest of this segment. See you at the end.
Teach your greyhound how to jump and play. This takes a great deal of energy, and he needs to be pretty well set for this and energetic for it. And he needs to be wearing his outfit. if any kind of outfit will do him good, if that's his favorite way to be. Okay, so we're going to start out by doing just a few basic warm-ups and a rub down to see that he's rearing to go. And Zeke says, I'm ready. We don't know of any problems the little guy might have, but he's raring to go with this thing. Okay, so any of the treats that he can see is going to work best, because this is what he's going to aim for. You need a clear and open area, at least a 5-foot diameter, maybe more for a larger dog, but he's pretty big for this. Okay, you can see he's really into it. He's ready to go to town and jump. He's raring to go. Let's get him doing some low jumps, something that he realizes he's going to have to set up and do, and he'll squat down. That'll be his natural jumping position. Okay. Now, you take it softly. If he's taking it, he's biting you, we don't need that. We just want him to be, he's really going to town. He wants to go a little higher. So hold it out and let him take it, maybe on the second or the third try. Watch how he comes down and lands, making sure that he's not hurting himself, that this is a natural move for him. You can see he's pretty athletic, and he's probably done a little bit of this before. But if they're younger, they may need this kind of coaching through. Okay, now he's pretty well warmed up, and you can see he's just tender with it. There he got one, and he was going to the same spot all of the time, held out in front of you at arm's length so that he can see it, and more importantly, so that you know how far away it is that he's jumping from you, so you can measure his progress in terms of the jumping.
Okay, so as you probably have guessed, Zeke is high energy. When Tilly was well, like the first couple years of her life before the hip dysplasia and the kneecap problems presented themselves, and we did try, but a vet missed it, thinking it was just some nerve damage and not the dysplasia. So at that point, he was able to run and play with her, and his weight was under control. Once that stopped, we noticed that Zeke started picking up weight. So that's why this ball launcher is an amazing thing for him. We keep the other dogs separated while he does get his 10 minutes of play a day. It has helped him get his weight back down a bit more. The only criticism is that the tennis balls are small. So a dog like Tilly's size could very easily get one wedged in her mouth or swallow it or get stuck, or all kinds of things happening with her. So not that she is able to run and chase, but it's a great alternative. And this is the information on what we have for him. So Tilly and Don will frequently go for scooter and walks together. She's used to it, whereas she was very timid before. It's not something that causes her any problem. The pace is slow enough, even with her hip dysplasia, so she doesn't get all freaked out. And it's just something that both of them enjoy doing. She will look back to check and see if I'm keeping up. And the occasional sniff. Pick up the pace there, Tilly. Okay, so one of the other things that we're going to touch on is care for your animal. For a lot of us, as we get older, if we're ill, taking that animal to be groomed becomes an issue. It's a lot of energy that we just don't have, or there's other things that occupy the time. So it becomes a trade-off of what we're going to do when. Mutts, cuts, and butts our local people, Chris and Liz. They are amazing. They are vet technicians, and they come to the home. The big thing with them is their prices are reasonable. They don't scare the animals like it would be the stress of taking, say, Tilly with all of her hip and knee issues, her hip dysplasia, kneecaps off the knees. That's stressful for that animal, not just as the owner, for the owners, but for the animal itself, getting her up into a vehicle, things of that sort. They do a variety of things, as you can see with the mutts, cuts, and butts. So it can be anything from, like gland expression, toenail trims, ear cleanings, sanitary trim, everything that can help your pet look well and be healthy. And their prices are reasonable. So I encourage you to look for something in your area. Things like this are starting to come up, which is really helpful for a lot of people through the pandemic, and it's also helpful for people that just cannot get out as much as they would like to. And we love them. And this is what you get. A lot of love from the babies if you have pets in your life.